As you know, Star Wars takes place a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Now, knowing this, and knowing they have advanced spacefaring technology, which could become even more advanced later in the series, in which they can travel very far away. They could come here to our solar system, to our planet, and hypothetically, a descendant of Luke Skywalker, that is Anakin Skywalker, that is, I think his mom's name was Shmi, or Smee? Anyway, a Skywalker, after all those generations, could come here and propagate. And one of those descendants of the Skywalkers, the great Skywalker legacy, could be what we refer to as Christopher Robin in the extended Star Wars universe, Winnie the Pooh, which is now possible. They can delve into this deep lore that was really always there and always intended. Now that Disney finally owns the rights to Star Wars, as they always should have, really. So that's great, because now they can legally continue the Skywalker's legacy and Star Wars in our current era, if they ever so choose to. A sort of, time skip forward into the future. Similar to how SWTOR, those video games, the Old Republic, they take place a very long time ago, even more longer than the other long time ago. This could be in the future, right? Which is the present, which would be very, very interesting, I think. Now, you might say, how is Christopher Robin a Jedi or Force sensitive? How is he connected to the Skywalkers? Well, consider this. How does Christopher Robin enter through a portal in a tree into another world, another plane, a dimension? How did these little walking, talking little animal people, or actually living, sentient, stuffed animals, come to be? How did they come to exist in our world, which Christopher Robin lives in, if not by unbelievably powerful force powers, which of course would be cultivated throughout the Skywalker legacy, right? Which is already very powerful, we can see with Luke and Vader, and possibly Rey, right? If she is the next Skywalker, as the trailer seems to imply. With all the legacies carrying all the power into her, right? Which makes her so powerful, even without any training. Which means Christopher Robin, all those generations later, after that, he would be like God, because of all the midichlorians, or whatever, that have been cultivated throughout all those generations, and he's become so powerful, unless they got rid of that. Either way, the point is, very powerful. And now you might say, well, why, he doesn't lift up things with his mind so far. He doesn't, lift rocks or anything. He doesn't swing lightsabers. He doesn't even have one, probably. Not yet, anyway. Alright? But clearly, he has some sort of reality-bending powers, the power of creation, kind of like Scarlet Witch in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Unless they change that and she doesn't have that anymore, but I think she still does. The point is, it's kind of like that, alright? Like Scarlet Witch or something. Godlike powers to alter reality. Or Haruhi Suzumaya, if you will. The powers of creation as well, to create. I believe that he did not find this alternate dimension or this other plane. I think he created it. With his powers, with his Skywalker lineage given powers. I think through his power and his imagination, even as a young boy, he created an alternate reality, another dimension, another plane of existence, and he uses this tree that he's infused with his power as a portal into that other dimension. Now, maybe other people can go through it, maybe only him. Depends on which lore we're taking into account, what Disney has and hasn't retconned. But the point is, he can get through it, alright? And I believe he created, or at least brought life to, these little stuffed animal people and gave them sentience, right? Which is a really astounding act if you think about it, right? That we haven't really seen in Star Wars yet. It's really pretty interesting. And he created the whole 100-acre woods. That's a lot. 100 acres is, well, I don't know what an acre is, but I'm sure it's a lot, like a big area. And all the plants and the trees and like the houses that all the little animals live in, except Eeyore. He doesn't really get anything, but he must have created all that with the Force. I mean, obviously this little boy he didn't do carpentry, right? This skinny little boy. He clearly did everything with the Force. And of course, I think that the Heffalump and Woozles are really interesting philosophical, metaphorical sort of take on the light side and the dark side. I think that's the dark side trying to get in or out from Christopher Robin, right? Because he's very good, he's very pure, he's a Skywalker. Except he's also very evil because he's a Skywalker. You know, like Darth Vader. Luke was good, but Darth Vader was mean. And Kylo Ren was mean, but if Rey's one of them, then she's pretty nice, I guess. Probably. She hasn't killed anyone yet, so, you know, good enough. But the point is, I think that these would be some sort of creatures, some sort of monsters, Force monsters created with the Force, the dark side of the Force. On the light side of the Force created Pooh Bear, Winnie the Pooh, and all of his little friends in the 100-Acre Woods, right? These, or at least gave life to these little stuffed animals. And it makes sense that he would have the power of creation because the Force is female, and females can have babies be inside them and they come out of there. That's where babies come from, all right? So if the Force is female, and even though he's a guy, he's using the Force, he can make stuff, probably. If you're powerful enough, right? If you can use the Force good enough, because of, you know, lineage that lets you use the female Force and whatever, good enough to be really powerful and stuff, then it's very deep, I think. And now there's two possible different ways they could go with this. They could go that a Christopher Robin is so powerful, so ungodly or godly powerful, that he is immortal and he does not age and he's forever a child with the mind of like an unfathomable super intelligence from all the Force power that he has. Or you can take the alternate route. You see, Disney made a live-action movie, Christopher Robin, about him as a grown-up with a family, a wife and a child as a family. That's what that is. Because Star Wars movies are all about family, so that might be a way they go. And plus, then you can keep having descendants and milk the franchise forever, right? With live-action movies and stuff. So that might be the way they go. And in that movie, he has a daughter named Madeline, all right? So she could be even more powerful than him because she's his daughter, all right? And it would have grown more powerful in her because she's his daughter. And so that's another generation, you know? And that's how the Force works, I guess. You know who played Christopher Robin in that movie? It was Obi-Wan Kenobi, all right? They had the guy who played Obi-Wan Kenobi playing Christopher Robin. Is that just a coincidence? Is that just a coincidence that they had him playing that? Or were they trying to tell us something? Were they hinting at something deeper in the lore that people just weren't picking up on, I guess? And hinting at what they, you know, might be planning on doing if, you know, when the time is right. And on top of that, his daughter's name is Madeline. And you know, there's a movie named Madeline, right? With the little girl who has psychic powers, right? Or at least that's what we think they are. But she's picking things up with her mind. You know what that is? That's the Force. Is that a coincidence that there's a movie named Madeline where she has the Force and his daughter is named Madeline and he is Obi-Wan Kenobi? Do you think that's a coincidence? It's not a coincidence. I think we all know that. If you're here, I think you know that. Now, I think there's a possibility of the two different sort of alternate realities or timelines, different narrative branches existing simultaneously, right? Different planes of existence, multiverses, whatever. Kind of like Dragon Ball Super versus Dragon Ball GT. I think Super would be kind of like the immortal thing because, you know, the God Key and everything. And then GT would be kind of like him growing older and passing it down through the generations, right? Both can exist and separately. So that way you have two different branches of the same story to milk back and forth when one gets tiresome or simultaneously even. So people can just constantly get Star Wars. I think that's good. I sure would like that. And now, there is a possibility for a prequel to the Christopher Robin movie. And a sequel, right? The prequel, now, they could make it about the war, right? That Christopher Robin fights and wins using his Force powers, his reality-altering Force powers to win the war against the Nazis. Because, you know, we didn't really get to see that. They just kind of breezed past that. They didn't really show how that happened, really. I guess because they think we already know the outcome, so they didn't feel the need to tell us. But I mean, of course they need to, though. We need to see that. And plus, we haven't really seen people fighting Nazis that much, so I think everybody would be very interested in that, really. And now, of course, you could do that, but you could also make a sequel to Christopher Robin, or both, of course, would be preferable. Of course, you have to do both. In which his daughter takes the mantle of the next reality-altering, godlike Skywalker. And, maybe she creates another part of the hunt. Maybe she creates a bigger acre of wood, like the 1,000-acre or something. Like, it's more. Like, we'll still kind of reference the 100-acre and Winnie the Pooh and all that, but it'll be new things that are way better. And the other ones won't be very good in comparison. But they'll still be there, for like nostalgia or whatever, which is good, I think. Because it's about family and expanding, the family. And I think that'll be very interesting. Maybe we can see his daughter Madeline win the Wimbledon Champion Cup with her force powers. Use that to win. But then maybe she realizes that it's not fair to the rest of humanity that she uses her powers to win. So she uses her reality-altering powers to change time so that she didn't win and go back in time. And then you can just continue using the same thing over, like, the same character, Madeline, because she's a female, so that'll be more progressive than Christopher Robin. And you can just use different actresses if they get too old, it's fine, just call it the same character. And she can just keep doing things and then, like, undoing it, so that it's, like, pointless to have watched it. I think that would be pretty interesting, though, because you could just keep doing that in the same kind of old-timey period. Maybe she could travel back in time with her powers and help her dad, Christopher Robin, fight the Nazis. And then we could get, like, a movie that goes in between the prequel, showing what she did to help him in the prequel war movie that we didn't see before, after it. I think that'd be pretty good. Hopefully, though, we can also get a prequel movie of Christopher Robin before the war, before he was even Christopher Robin as a child in the Winnie the Pooh series, right? And show where he got his iconic outfit. His little shorts and his shirt and his little shoes and everything. We never really see where he got them. Or why he chooses to wear them. Like, why he dresses the way he does. Or, like, when he wears a coat sometimes when it's cold. Where did he get the coat? Why does he wear that particular coat? Who made it? What is it made out of? What significance does it hold to him? And to the plot? And is it tied into the Force? Or to the Skywalker lineage in some way? I mean, I think that'd be interesting to know. A whole lot of things we could do here. A whole lot of possibilities. A whole lot of things we could do. It's just really interesting, and I hope Disney really pursues this and gives the fans what they want. Bonus theory. Now, if Christopher Robin really is an all-powerful, immortal Force user, we have to wonder, why weren't the people before him so powerful, or at least almost as powerful? There's two possibilities. Either he's been around for a very long time, or the Force just happened to awaken within him, like it did with Rey. Maybe the female Force has been slumbering within his belly. Maybe he's been pregnant with the Force. Male pregnancy is very progressive. Maybe he'll give birth to the Force, and it'll be like a chubby little panda girl to pander to Chinese audiences and to promote body positivity. And because it's a magic little bear girl, maybe she'll marry Pooh Bear and they'll have children. Maybe Winnie the Pooh, Pooh Bear, will impregnate the Force with his potent, honey-like seed. Maybe he'll say, "Oh, there's a rumbly in your tumbly," while he's doing it. That could incorporate the old famous catchphrase and make this moment really iconic and memorable. It will play on nostalgia, but still take the franchise in a new and interesting direction. Then we can follow the Force's offspring, the Force's own children, and just move past the Skywalkers altogether. Plus, little stuffed animal bear people will be very marketable, and they should actually be able to sell some toys, maybe even to children, instead of just grown men. And maybe that's why she, the Force I mean, chose Christopher Robin and all the Skywalkers to awaken with herself. Maybe that's why she cultivated this entire lineage. Also, she could create a Force user powerful enough to create a living creature of the Force in her own image, then bring her physical form, her physical manifestation into existence. Maybe that was the point of all these movies, and all the wars across the stars. Also, the Force could get impregnated by Pooh Bear.